everyone, this is Evelyn. I'm going to do a union read for you, just so you can see my process, how I deal out and everything. This is going to be for the 3D, 4D, 5D, for the Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. So it's going to be Feminine, Bridges, Divine Masculine, Bridges, Divine Feminine. In the 3D, 4D, 5D, the ingoing Feminine, the outgoing Masculine, and then the underlying and outgoing cards at the end. So this is for the twin flames. Today is March 8, 2021. March 8th, 2021 now. This is for the twin flames union. The feminine bridging the masculine, bridging the feminine, 3D, 4D, 5D. 3D, 4D, 5D for the twin flames. Feminine bridging masculine, bridging feminine. For the now moment, March 8th, 2021. This is the SIRIAN Starseed deck, for those of you not familiar. For the twin flame union. Let's see what I can get. I usually like to do this without dealing the deal in front of you, because I write and get channeled messages that way as well. So let's see what we get just from doing the read live. Okay, so here we go. For the twin flames, for the now moment, March 8, 2021. Twin flame union, 3, 4, 5D, feminine bridges, masculine bridges for feminine. For now, okay. And it's 10:07 on the clock. So here we have here is the Eight of Pentacles being the 3D divine feminine. Here is the bridge in the 3D is the star, and then the divine masculine is the 9 of Wands. In the 4D is the 8 of Orbs for the feminine, and then the center card is the Great Wheel, beautiful, in the middle of the read. So the bridge in the 4D, which is the bridge. And then the masculine in the 4D is the 4 of Orbs, which is like swords. So sitting there contemplating, meditating. And then in the 5D, the feminine is the 6 of Chalices, beautiful. That beautiful energy of the inner children connecting in a loving way, in a very loving way. And then the bridge in the 5D being the Ace of Crystals. This is also beautiful. This is that diamond in the rough exploding from the ground, right? The coal becoming the diamond. The sword coming out of the stone, and that's the bridge in the 5D. And then the masculine being the guidance card, or the Hierophant. Okay, and we have very much Buddha energy and the Sphinx energy, the V of creation for the 5, and again Atlantis energy there for the masculine. And the masculine's been getting a lot of Lemurian energy coming up on his side as well, with the dolphins and such. So the outgoing divine masculine here is the 3 of Cups. Okay, so socializing, coming together with others. And then we have the 8 of Flames, which is that energetic exchange. There's very much the being at the helm with this energy, as well as the color My World, right? Splattering colors all over the place. But in regards to flame color, the energy of the spark and desire. And then we have the 3 of Orbs. So there's 2 3s here, and then the 8 in the middle, splattering the 2 3s all around. The 3 of Orbs, like the 3 of Swords. And then the final card comes out as the 7 of Chalices, which is the stairway to heaven, literally. Okay, the 7 of Cups. Okay, and then for the feminine side is the underlying energy. So you have the underlying energy of the 5 of Orbs. So this will go here. And then the 3 bottom cards come out, so they come into the read like this. So we have the 7 of Swords for the Divine Feminine, passing downloads. The 9 of Orbs, which is that, for me, this is the most difficult card because you still haven't gotten through the 10 yet. So you're kind of stuck in that suffering and trying to end the nightmare. This is somebody hiding, not wanting to show their face, perhaps staying in the woods. This was coming up as not wanting to meditate and not wanting to go out and socialize, but just hiding, in the woods as opposed to somewhere else. And then here is the 5 of orbs, which is that inner war card as well. But in this deck, it's very much about the frog growing into the prince, but not quite fully manifested yet. But this is that atop Mount Everest type of card, looking down below at the water and the other mountains and the clouds. But there's no face yet here either. And you notice it's very much shaped like a heart. Passing downloads, purging, and then a growth spurt perhaps. And then the underlying energy over here is the 2 of Swords floating on air. This is someone knowing, but keeping it to themselves, right? Being in their knowing and just allowing, to keep their energy pure. So let me put this up here for you so you can see that. And then the outgoing card. It's a very beautiful energy is actually coming up. So as we come into this read, and I might write a couple things down, let's see if it helps. Coming into this read, passing downloads with 7090 and the 5 of orbs. The 7, 9, and 5 are the odd numbers, 5, 7, 9. Not so much receiving the downloads as passing them on right now. Allowing the purges in a growth spurt. And allowing yourself to just stay in the ethers. And there could be some 6D energies there for the divine feminine especially, And for some of you, you're going to be going up higher than the 6D. But just as a base, going up to the 6D may be, causing the purges, which may need to come. But I feel like there's a reprieve from that coming up because we're being called to now ground. All right, so going into the 4D, we have the divine feminine with the 8 of crystals, lining your path with crystals, perhaps. It's interesting, too, because I have a couple selenite crystals outside with my little lions outside my front door. So perhaps working with crystals and perhaps playing with them and experimenting in front of the door. Here is the castle, which is it's really the E tower, but you're not seeing the E at the top of the tower like you do in the other card of the 7 of crystals. So this is the feminine, working to align herself with whatever is making her happy. And the divine masculine over here in the wounded warrior energy, right? Either not giving up or going into surrender, which is good. And again, this is the 3D. And the feminine's really not in this 3D. She's present in the 3D, but she's really just working to align in the 3D to try to ground higher energies into the 3D. Whereas the masculine is working on surrendering the 3D. And the bridge between them in the 3D is the star. This is the Atlantis energy, the music of the stars, the rock star, right? The walk like an Egyptian energy, and also the healer energy. There's very much healing about the back of the leg. And there's been complaints coming my way about, and in my left leg as well. My daughter was complaining, then someone that I saw this week at an appointment was complaining about the exact same symptoms my daughter had of having that knee issue, and then it radiating to the butt and the foot at the same time. And again, here's healing being done to the back of the leg above the knee. So there's definitely, and also getting pacified by collecting energies from the stars. And this can be music of the spheres, so music and meditative music, as well as just the energy, like grounding in the ether energy, because ether and, what was coming up with the ether? Now I'm blanking out on it, but if you remember what I was just talking about yesterday and the day before, because ether's been coming up a lot. But the 6D is being associated with the ethers. Grounding those energies. And I just told you about being in the portal there. And I'm getting now, she's like, in this card, it's like, going into your crown to see the etheric realm with the stars and astral travel. But, it's like putting your arm out to collect it, but staying within the portal, grounding yourself, staying grounded. Okay, so the bridge. And this is also, the feminine's over here, the masculine's over here. Here's the feminine reaching out to the masculine to collect energy from the stars. perhaps from the rock star. The feminine energy is facing toward the masculine, but she's looking back. Her body is in that direction, but she's looking back still. Perhaps looking back at this work over here. And by her looking back and not looking forward, that's causing the delay in the surrender over here. If the feminine switches looking forward, it'll help the masculine surrender. In the 5D here, we have the feminine. This could be letting go of the fear and the anxieties and the feeling imprisoned, letting go of that hiding energy over here. And the masculine being in a very contemplative space. There's someone sitting there on the beach. So these are the 4D energies of the bridge, right? This is the purgatory energies. 4D is purgatory, the rainbow bridge. And they're both by the water, you notice. But I feel like this is reversed for the feminine, there has been that feeling of going backward and going back into anxieties and fears again. So this is the feminine knowing that's just a passing phase and then allowing that to pass, right? So there's more of a little bit of movement here in front of her, the creek. And that's so funny because I have a creek just like that across the street from my house. And then here's the masculine at the beach or the ocean in deep contemplation or meditating there. Okay, that's the 4D energy. And so the masculine more at peace right here, whereas perhaps the feminine's working through some purging that needs to be released. And then the middle here is the Wheel of Fortune, which is the center of the whole read, which is all about divine timing and just allowing, right? It's destined. Knowing that this isn't to punish you. No, you're not falling backward. This is just time to clear some more energies and move forward here. There's very powerful energies in the bridge here. It's not always this powerful. We have the star of the dreams coming true, which are destined. And there's the diamond in the rough being exposed from the rock, the sword coming out of the stone. In the 5D, we have the feminine in that loving energy, loving the inner masculine, and them in a big hug. And that can be with your children as well, having a great 5D relationship with your children. Even if your children aren't really 5D yet, you may be teaching them a lot about the 5D, and there's a lot of love and understanding there. They don't poo-poo what you're doing. So whoever you're really connecting with in your journey as far as children or your twin, that's representing that energy. But this is the union read, so it's mostly about your twin. And over here for the Divine Masculine, he may be dealing with commitments or marriage or guidance. He may be, working on connecting with his own guides. And here he needs to surrender a little bit more to connect more fully to his guides. But that's about the commitment to his higher self, that his loyalty, his number one loyalty, needs to be to his higher self, which is then the collective consciousness. And then the bridge between this commitment here in the 5D, whether that is a marital commitment, a business commitment, his commitment to himself, his higher self, the bridge between, the love between them and the commitment between them is that Ace of Pentacles, which is that offer of a new life, which is removing the sword from the stone. It's changing that carbon to the diamond. It's going from carbon to crystalline energy. And remember, crystalline is being Christ-like. And then the I&E, again, is like the discipline. It's the disciple already means to be, or discipline rather, actually means the disciple of one's self. So this is the ace, the crystalline is the being the disciple, being the Christ-likeness of oneself, that you are Christ-like. It's that you have that same energy. We're all the collective God. So it's reminding you of that the connection between you is your crystalline bodies in the 5D and their connection to Source. And exposing that light, allowing it to be seen. It's been in the rock for, how many thousands of years to finally come out and be seen. And yeah, it might be a little rough at first. But, just takes a little polishing is all it needs. There's a lot of love there. There's a lot of commitment there. And an offer of a brand new life is here. It's in the 5D, coming down to the 3D and meeting in the middle in destiny. the underlying energy is the Two of Swords there for the whole read, which is being in your knowing, especially for the Divine Feminine, being in her knowing and walking the walk, allowing her energy to stay pure, you know, just keeping to herself. And then the outgoing energy is taking the steps, the masculine going from the 3 of Cups here, the 3 of and 8 of and 3. So 3, 8, 3. The 8 is the dance. I'm getting 8 off. So dance off. There may be a dance off, right? Instead of a face off, a dance off. The 3 of Christ, which is the Trinity, the unity consciousness, the Christ consciousness. And then the 8 of F, which is the expansion and contraction, the dance of that, the expansion and contraction, always coming back to the center and learning that energetic exchange of coming together in union and joy in the energetic exchange with the Divine Feminine. And then here's the 3 of Orbs of the separation, but actually it is of the lightning coming in and the lighthouse in the storm, the calm before the storm. It's like the separation before you get married. You know, the bride and the groom go to their separate corners. That's the energy that's coming up here. And then in the 7 of Cups here at the end, in order to take the steps to get to the 5D, the heaven on earth. And that's also about seeing synchronicities, about seeing heaven in your eyes, right? The imagination, knowing what you're grounding into your reality, right? Into the 4th dimension now and pulling it up to the 5th dimension, or pulling the 5th dimension into the 4th dimension, right? Bridging, getting off the bridge into the heaven on earth, taking the steps, having lots of options and opportunities for love. Notice that it's the 7 of Cups. Every step you take, there is an opportunity for love. And it's all destined. I'm going to pull you a Journey of Love card because I didn't read, I just did the Twin Flame read. And I pulled the Journey of Love cards, but I didn't read it from the book. So I'm going to read one for you now. I just want to gather a little bit more information here. There was a lot of sword energy coming up, actually in both reads. There's definitely a few swords cards coming up here. But it's like squeezing the last of the lemon out, you know, getting those last bits of dark before the spring equinox here. You're not losing ground, you're just going through that energetic spiral, going back to purge a little bit in order to spring forward. It gives you that propulsion forward. You know, whenever I have a good purge, there's always an amazing message that comes out the next day or two. So just allow it to happen. Yes, you might feel crazy for a moment, or you might need to cry your eyes out for a moment, but it's just the process, and just allow it all. All right, let's see what the Journey of Love says for this read. And I'm getting the atom in the middle, right? The mushroom of the atom bomb, which is the explosion and the implosion, like, you know, the creation of the world all in one. And here we have the heavens and the earth, and then here's the destiny between them. And you notice that the heaven is coming up in the 3D because it's no longer going to exist. And then here's the 5D, earth, the heaven on earth. All right. The breaking, the 65. And this came up earlier too when I looked at a number. It was 65. 65 is the King of Pentacles. He's been coming up a lot, and not only in my stuff, but when I turned on a couple things online, he was coming up again. So, and again, here's that crash, that implosion and explosion into the vortex, the conflict. And you notice too, it's very much the energy of the Divine Feminine bending over backwards and meeting head on with conflict, right? The magnetization of the same energy that you give, right? Bending over backwards isn't being in moderation. It's causing conflict within the vortex here, even if you're in that peaceful place. It's pulling in the conflict in the actual cyclone into the center, into the vortex, causing underlying disturbances within the safe space. And again, this bending over backwards of the feminine, this has come up multiple times, not just in this card, but other cards as well. The bending over backwards, the breaking. It's coming up as the breaking in of the King of Pentacles. That's the masculine energy here. And then we have the coming together. Oh, very interesting. This is the Queen of Pentacles. This is the coming together of the masculine and the feminine. Oh, I'm getting the lyric. As you pour yourself on me, and that's been coming up a lot this week as well. If a man could be two places at one time, I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. And when my love for life is running dry, I can't remember the lyrics now. And you pour yourself on me. I'm probably saying the wrong verses in the wrong order, but you get my point. This is the masculine pouring himself on the divine feminine, bending over backwards to reach him. You pour yourself on me. The breaking of the divine masculine, the surrender. Here's the surrender. How beautiful is that message? This is the surrender to the masculine, collapsing onto the feminine, bending over backwards to get her heart to him. And the coming together of the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. And again, here is that energy of the printing press of the heart, right? Drawing in the energy. It's like, this is like showing you two perspectives of the same picture, right? This is the two coming together. And this is a close-up, like if you were to look at this from this perspective. It's like seeing the red come into the center here. They're different perspectives of the same thing. This is the outer perspective of the masculine, literally laying on top of the feminine, bending over backwards. And here is the inner heart of the two hearts melding as one. Right? As the blood rushes in to the center. And look, this is the toroidal field. There's the 0 point right here. Right? Of the two apples of your eye. Right? The two apples of God's eye. The two twins melding together into one, into the core, into the vortex, into the 0 point. The King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles coming together in the breaking. Wow, I'm going to read you both of those cards. The bottom of the deck is what was coming up too, and then the ethereal touch is that the Ace of Wands, right, which is very phallic symbol there. But the very light touch, the feathering, the etheric realms, the ethers, the 6D realm, the feathering. And this, the feathering is another good word for what I was describing earlier in my other video about the opening of the crown and going into the outer realms, the little follicles there, or hairs, the little energetic blips there. It's like a feathering around the crown to open you to the portal, kind of like a rubber stopper would be around, something to seal it. But here's like hairs or little follicles, just like, like the little hairs on your body, but energy hairs, more directly energy as opposed, but your hairs are energy as well. That's why they stand up on end. But we have her grace at the bottom of the deck, the 17 of the star. So here's the star again right here. And look what direction she's facing now. Okay, I just told you that she's moving forward, looking back, and she just needs to turn her head forward to help the masculine to surrender. And then look what happened. He surrendered, and look at the bottom of the deck. It's because she turned her face forward to reach out to them. 17 is the star, her grace, being graceful, right? So, and look at the arms. There's both the same energy. It's not as graceful here, right? This is more masculine, the Atlantis energy, and this is more feminine, right? Going from the Madonna, right, walk like an Egyptian, to walking like Grace Kelly. That movement of grace and God's grace, gracing them with your presence. Beneath that is the communal dance, the 5 of the Hierophant, which came up in the read for the Twin Flame today. That was the only major arcana. The 5 of the communal dance. And here's the egg, the big egg in the middle. I'm getting the cracking open of the egg. You see how like there's like a holder here and there's like the yolk coming out of the egg. It's the cracking open of the egg, and everyone's joining around to come see the cracking open of the egg. It's the twin flame birth. And her Grace, you know, Grace Kelly. The birthing of her Grace, the Star of Bethlehem coming up as well. And that's the underlying energy going into the King and Queen of Pentacles. Right? This is so beautiful. I love that energy of her bending over backwards and him and you, the divine masculine, just collapsing in surrender over the divine feminine. It's like a crash too, like a fall, a crash. See all the white energies and then coming into the red of the masculine falling into her. It's like her bending over backwards to like kind of bring her energy down to the lower chakras in order to resonate with him, to allow him to fall. It's like catching him when he falls and trying to get to the etheric realms and falling and failing in that, and her coming down to catch him. And here's again the toroidal field, the Taurus. And there's the Taurus relating to the Taurus energy of the Hierophant again. And the Hierophant is the commitment. It's commitment to higher self, to source energy, to God, to the collective. Really beautiful energy there. Wow. All right, so I'm going to read you the 65 and 66 for the King and Queen of Pentacles. All right, the breaking. You are breaking apart. You might not understand it at all. There's not so much to be understood, but the simplicity doesn't mean it's easy to endure. You may worry that you're going too far, that you may not recover or ever come back together again. But what can you do? Can you hold back from the divine love that calls you, that lures you to becoming all that you are, to remembering your divine nature? Well, you could try, but for what purpose? Temporary rest before the storm is best. So take the rest if you need it, and then dive into the storm. Let yourself be brokenhearted by the divine so that you can become your truth, become all that you're meant to be. It's better to have the heart broken so that it grows than to be brokenhearted by thinking that you must protect yourself from love. This oracle brings compassionate guidance no matter what sadness or anger, despair or frustration you may feel. You're being pulled apart not by dark forces, but by the loving embrace of the divine as it strips you of that which would keep you from the divine realization. Let go and break. It's going to be the making of you. And the poem is titled Love. Love is a special closeness that sings from the heart, that warms my days and night, that feels good, that makes me smile, that makes me glad to be alive. And then coming together for 66 and the Queen of Pentacles. You and another soul are coming into each other's worlds. It's a karmic destiny that's unfolding, an expression of a divine plan set in motion many lifetimes ago. That destiny may have a romantic purpose. It may have a sacredness that is sexual. It may have a sacredness that is creative and tender about learning self-esteem or courage. It may bring a gift of enduring friendship and loyalty, or be an expression of a passing flash of divine force that shakes your foundations and helps move you out of a situation which would have consumed your light with tediousness and playing small. The coming together is happening, however. Know it is of love. This oracle brings guidance. You are going to be moved by love. Whether it's long-term or fast and furious, it is love and it has meaning. Let it be what it is and do not try to force it to become what you think it must be. It has worth, as do you. Enjoy the experience and know it serves your growth. Two energy patterns came together and shared frequency in a field of possibilities, and there was resonance. Make sure to drink your water and get your rest. Do what you want, but make sure to put some joy and nature in there as well. Rise and be love, guys. I will see you very soon. Have an amazing day. And remember, it's all good. Allow it all to pass through. See you soon. Bye.